has being in our community trickled down into your personal relationships?
Enormously. So in my first year on the program, I went from 20 free days to 120 free days. I mean, the whole concept of like, take a day for yourself and go and do something for yourself was like, what? A day? I'm allowed a day and I can do whatever I want. My husband and I trained together for and entered a 100-mile bike ride challenge last year. We've never been able to coordinate to train together for anything before. We raised £1,000 for Prostate Cancer UK, which was brilliant. And just that quality of that time and doing that with him. And that all came from me setting free day goals around getting out training on the bike, picking a challenge to do, getting him involved, making it a charitable venture, and that has had massive relationship benefits for us. My dad unfortunately was sick last year. He had prostate cancer, that's why we fundraised for Prostate Cancer UK, and he's doing great now. But when he'd had his surgery and was having his radiotherapy, I was able to take 4 days and just go in the middle of a 25-day radiotherapy period. They live about 250 miles away, which is a long way here. And I was able to go and take 4 days and just be with him and Mum, go to the appointments, give her a day off and not work at all. Which I know, and they've told me, meant so much to them to help them get over the hump of the radiotherapy. I'm getting emotional about it. But just to be able to take that time and to spend it with them and to not be distracted by work, because I'd set up the structures that meant I could have those 3 days, was invaluable. And that's that kind of realisation that that's time you don't get to have again. And I was able to make the space for that. It's brilliant.
I have goosebumps. Yeah, it's so important.
Yeah. And I would have taken the time, again, before the programme, I would have taken the time. I'd have gone and stayed with them, but I'd have kind of gone, oh, I've got to do a few hours work. I'll have to check in, oh, the phone's ringing, I better answer it. But actually the mindset of these are free days and these are for me and the family and they don't get interrupted.
And then you're able to be fully present and spend that time with your parents instead of maybe showing up tired or stressed out or distracted.
Or them feeling like they were a burden of some kind, And I think that was the biggest, benefit for them was, and for me and for our relationship, was them feeling like this was a choice I'd made and I was fully present in it and they weren't distracting me from anything else. They really were the most important thing during that time. And that's something I don't think I would have been able to do before the programme, because I just wouldn't have had that mindset of you need to be fully present in relationship matters. Yeah.
Absolutely. I always personally tell myself that spending time with family fuels your soul and your energy in a way that nothing else in your life can.
Yeah.
So then when you're able to be present with your family like you were able to, then that impacts your work, because then you're going to go back to work feeling clear, energized, relaxed.
Yeah. I could focus more and better on the work that I then went back to do, because I knew how they were, because I'd had that opportunity to spend the time and to be in their presence, and I knew they were going to be okay. Yeah, prior to that I'd been worried. It's true. And then I actually think those 4 days were quite critical in me making the decision around where business needed to go for me. In the end, life is really all about who you choose to spend time with, who you spend time with, and I need to choose that more carefully.
Yeah, well, when you readjust your values and your priorities, you can get very clear on your relationships then.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. It's quite insightful to think about it this way now. I hadn't thought about it so clearly, actually.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that your father's well.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing that story with me. It's such a good example of how Strategic Coach is a life program.
Yeah.
Not only does your business grow and things get better, but your personal life is impacted. And sometimes it's hard for us to explain how that happens.
Yeah.
But your story was very insightful. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.